Hello and welcome to your tutorial on how to use the SalesRabbit app. First thing, we'll hop into the app, and if you haven't already, it'll prompt you to log in, and you'll use the login credentials that you set up through your email, and it'll bring you straight to the home screen. And on the home screen, that's where you'll find all of your stats and then any appointments that you have set up for today or any day in the future. You can also review appointments from the past. And the other thing that's important to know for the home screen is the settings tool up in the top left. And here, I would recommend first to sync to your default calendar, make sure that tab is checked. I would personally recommend setting your reminders to sometime more than 5 minutes before, maybe 15, maybe half an hour, it just depends on you. Your auto download on Wi-Fi only is pretty customary, but if you'd like your sales materials downloaded automatically wherever you are, just make sure to change that to all networks. And then probably one of the most useful tools within settings is the opportunity to ask for support. So you've got your help center here, and then if you ever need to contact SalesRabbit support, that's all right there. And then of course, if you need to log out, that information is right there as well. So moving away from the home button, you've got the messaging tool that truthfully we rarely use, and then Sales Hub, which is probably where you'll spend the most time and where your map is. So today, for the sake of this tutorial, we are going to use North Logan. There's lots of leads here. North Logan as our territory. But before we get into that, I think it's important to go through other tools that you have on SalesRabbit. Under your sales tools here, you've got tons of resources. So under sales materials, you've got everything from the state sales materials to your sales scripts to market resources, B2B market resources. You've got interesting things about Aflac to know about their policies. You've got stuff about incentives, sales manuals, and then of course you've got stuff for SalesRabbit questions. The other thing that's really helpful if you ever need it is your sketchboard within the app. This is where you can do a visual price buildup. And then you may find this extremely useful, the links. So you've got your FHL Connect link straight from your SalesRabbit app, and if you are like us and have your all of your passwords saved, that'll be super seamless. And you also have your B2B market videos. You've got a link straight to the stat site, which you'll enter in every single night. And then you've got tools on how to work different industries and B2B. And then of course you have the SalesRabbit produced SalesRabbit tutorials for iOS and Android right there. And then if you are super competitive, under the leaderboards, you can see other people's stats by day in a standing. So see who's crushing it in demos. Look at that, Amber Winfrey crushing it today in demos. And then we'll hop into Sales Hub. So this is where we'll spend most of our time. In Sales Hub, we prefer the hybrid map style versus the street or simply satellite only. Hybrid's nice because then you can kind of see where you are, but it also shows you what the street names are. And then make sure your area is displayed. When you log into SalesRabbit for the first time, you will be assigned a territory. And when you're assigned, almost all of the leads for your area will actually already download for you. So that's what you're seeing here in North Logan. So some things that are really helpful from a broad perspective, the mentality behind working your territory should be like an oil spill. So from closest to where you live to farthest away. So let's say in this case, if someone lived in Logan and they were assigned North Logan, they would work from the southwest corner, and again, like an oil spill, up to and through the northeast corner. So we'll kind of show you how that works. And essentially, what you want to do is make sure you approach every single business that's open. So remember, we're approaching people in the businesses, and all people are people. So just don't leave anybody out. One thing that's really helpful starting out is to go into the filter button on the top left. And what we want to do is make sure that we only show the lead statuses that are relevant or most commonly used. So in this case, what you want to make sure you have showing is the not interested pin, the demo pin, the comp pin, the referral pin, the go back pin, the appointment pin, the enrollment set pin, enrollment completed pin, the sold pin, and the reservice pin. Those are the most commonly used. And then once you visit a business, like let's say we visit this restaurant here. If you click this pin button, which is right below the map settings button, let's say you pop in to this pizza place and you get a demo. Now, when you get a demo or any kind of lead that you have, and again, you can set them up here, you want to make sure that you put in the notes, any notes that you have about your interaction in that business. So first thing you want to do is write down who you talked to and or sat down with. So let's say we talked to Bob. He is the restaurant owner, and Bob has a big beard and glasses. You also talked to Lisa. She was the hostess, and she has curly blonde hair. And then the second thing you need to note is, did they get protected and on what? So let's say in this case, they did get protected, so we need to change that to a sold client pin. And let's say Bob protected on preferred, accident, and ICU. Lisa protected on preferred across the board. And then what you learned about the business is the third thing you want to put. So who owns and operates? Obviously, we know that in this case, Bob owns and operates. They have 7 employees. They do not offer benefits. And we are going to come back during a staff meeting on Monday at 2 p.m. staff meeting. Okay. And then the fourth thing you want to note is any other notes or thoughts you'd like to remember when you do come back. So it might be helpful to say Bob has a son, plays football. He also loves the Broncos. And it might be helpful to remember that Lisa's birthday was on Friday. Okay, so those are some things that might be helpful. So when you come back on Monday at 2 p.m., you can say, hey, Lisa, how was your birthday? Or, did you see the Broncos play, or different things like that. So just helpful to remember. Now, from here, you'll note in here, it says Monday, 2 p.m. staff meeting. Just writing that in there does not set up an appointment. So when you do set an appointment, what you want to do is click this pencil button. And you'll see in the middle here, it says appointment/callback. That's when you want to select your date. And we're going to move it to Monday, August 3rd, in this case, at 2 p.m. And you'll set that appointment. So here, after you've scheduled the appointment, you'll notice that on your home button, it'll show up here as your client at 2 p.m. under your appointments. So that's really helpful to go back through and check. But then, so once you're done there, and let's say you ask for referrals, and Bob says you should definitely talk to Susie. She owns the hair salon that's right next door. So check this out. Then you can say Susie's hair. referred by Bob at restaurant next door. Cool. And then he'll probably also recommend that you talk to the auto body shop, also connected to him, and that is Steve's Mechanic. So referred by Bob. Okay. So this is just super helpful to go back through, and when you're setting up those pins, let's say if you end up talking to this business right next door and they happen to not be interested, no big deal. You might still put some notes in there. Talked to Julie. She was in a hurry. Manager is Dawn. Stop by in 6 months. Now, in a case like that, you might want to put in your appointments here. Let's just say, so it's July, maybe mid-January, if we're in the area, you might want to set up an appointment there. So just to see if it makes sense to pop back in if they're in a different situation. Now, naturally, if you get a demo, put a demo there and discuss. So you talk to Steve and Atlas and Judy, and they were grateful I stopped by, but decided to hold off. Now, the nice thing here is, let's say when you do go talk to this prospect over here, okay, let's say you go talk to them. Maybe you talk to the demoed Steve and Judy on Friday, and then you're going back through and working this area again on Monday. Well, if you're anything like me, sometimes I forget who I talk to different days. So when you're talking to and you go approach this business on the corner, if you go back and look at your notes, even though Steve and Judy did not buy, from your notes that you talked to Steve and Judy over at the Dollar General. So that's one thing you can use in your approach when you're speaking with this business on the corner. So hopefully all of that is helpful. Let us know if you have any other questions.